Hello, hello, hello. I'm Lyndon Thorpe, and this is Our Way, Our Wealth. I'm here on Saturday and Sunday. It's an audio podcast, and I invite guests to come and talk to me, but also I bring you up to date on what I've been getting up to the week past and the week to come. So you can follow my arguments and all my posts and all my live content. And by the way, I do 8 live pieces of content each week. So if you'd like to know more, drop a comment below this window and I'll give you the link for all my live events so you can find out more. And welcome to LinkedIn members and YouTubers. I'm streaming to both today. And yeah, I'm going to start off by rounding up the week. Yes, it's been a very busy week. I've focused this week on EQ because I've had various conversations with people who tell me that corporate and company organizations are really using EQ to make real decisions. In other words, they're measuring people's emotions and then basing their decisions and their policies on the results. Okay, so I was up in arms about this, really. And it really spoke to my embodiment background and my spiritual background. And by spiritual, I don't mean religious in any way. No, spirit as human spirit, essence, energy. The spirit is energy, really. So let me just summarize what has been going on. And it culminated yesterday in a really good Lodestone Q&A. Lodestone is my product, and each weekend on a Friday, I run a Q&A session, and I have 2 regular guests, 2 resident guests. Ebishilia Dietspiff, who is a mindset coach and a true self-love coach, and Muhiba Jamusi, who is a relationship and transformational coach, both very experienced coaches. And so we had a superb Q&A, and you'll find the report on my profile. It was a conversation that led to so many different perspectives. Amazing. But anyway, basically, the objections to EQ, which means emotional quotient, like IQ, which is intelligence quotient, really, it's being run by more and more HR teams who sit people down and ask them to fill in questionnaires and test them with all sorts of software and so on. And then they get their results and they act upon those results. And many companies are employing this now. And AI is being used to offer insights into people's facial expressions and body language and so on. This appalls me, and it clearly appalls many other people too. So in the EU, it's banned. Companies cannot use AI for these emotional purposes. And I think that's really sensible, and it shows how wise in many ways the EU is, despite past catastrophes and so on. It's a very wise system. Just checking that this LinkedIn live stream is actually seems it's not. Just give me one moment. Let me just check it. Okay, I'll just set it again. Forgive. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there we go. It's okay now. So yes, really the critique of EQ is there are 3 points. First one, measurement flattens things. So reducing emotions to numbers erases context, culture, history, and the body, which is my greatest concern as an embodiment mentor. Secondly, metrics distort. Once empathy is scored, people start to perform it. I call it empathy theatre. Scripted nods, survey responses, this kind of thing, rather than genuine care and genuine compassion. And the third point is that tech fixes create very brittle intersections. So emotion AI is scientifically very shaky and ethically very risky. And as I mentioned, the EU AI Act already bans emotion inference in workplaces and schools. So other people feel strongly about this too. Speaking as a mind, body, spirit person, someone who has spent years balancing my mind and my body and my spirit, and who knows the difference between the limited mind and the unlimited mind, and uses the limited mind as a tool, which is as it should be, and puts the tool down when the task is finished, and then lives from the unlimited mind, then I am appalled that people really don't understand what emotions are. First of all, emotions are completely invisible. They cannot be seen or symbolized really directly. Okay, but what we do is interpret them and give them labels, which are very vague. The only thing we can measure is behavior. That's the only sign of emotions. And I'm afraid if we start to measure behavior, we're going to end up with some kind of Nazi-esque regime. If you start to control behavior in that way, you're really treading a very fine line between mayhem and, some kind of sanitary clearing of certain types of behavior, which is, of course, what the Nazis tried to do, and various other regimes that we don't like to talk about very much. Emotions are invisible. They can't be seen. They can't be symbolized, really. Behavior is the only way we can see an emotion, but that's very difficult to interpret. There have been many behaviorists throughout the last 200 years who have created various systems, but for me, that doesn't work. One of the problems with this is that 95% of behavior, human behavior, is not controllable. It's governed by the nervous system. Medics tell us this, physiology tells us this. We can't easily change such behavior. So one example is drug addiction. That is in some way coded into DNA. And so it's very likely that drug addiction will flow through a lineage the DNA hands it down to the next generation. So we are really in a fix about this. Sorry, I'll have to pause there again. We've got another problem with LinkedIn for some reason. Just give me one moment. I'll remove it from the stream. Okay. And I'll try and add it again. Okay. No. Okay. Let's see if we can add that. Oh dear. No, we can't do that. Okay. Well, don't worry. I'll make some highlights of this and post it later. Sorry, LinkedIn is now not being streamed to. I'll just try once more, see if I can add it. Oh, else. Oh no, I can't seem to connect again. Don't worry, I'm going to post this as an audiogram, and then you'll be able to cue in. So I'll go on. So emotions are invisible. Behavior is non-modifiable unless we start martial rule or something like that. 95% of human behavior is out of our control anyway, because it's governed by the nervous system. Then the second point is we are embodied first. We are humans. We have a highly evolved human body. And neuroscience confirms that via interoception, which is what I deal in other words, looking at the body, mapping it, and showing people how to use the body when they live, when they work, in every way. So neuroscience tells us and confirms that the body registers emotions long before the mind labels them. And those labels might be extremely tentative anyway. And then finally, we have, just one second. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with, see if I can just, no, I can't get LinkedIn to reconnect. I'm so sorry about this. Where's our wealth? Yeah, because it started too early. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, maybe it's okay again. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about this. I'm having trouble streaming. So going on to the second point, we are bodies. We are human bodies. We all have a human body. Neuroscience confirms that via interoception, which is what I deal in, that is the mapping of the human body in terms of life and living, the body registers emotions long before the mind labels them. Yeah. And then the third point is impermanence. I'm a Buddhist practitioner, long-term Buddhist. And from the Buddhist point of view, emotions, like all phenomena, are fleeting. They are impermanent. We can't hold on to them. We may try. Poets may write a line of verse about what they feel, but there's no evidence to show they actually exist as a universal phenomena. Individuals have their own ways of feeling, of interreceiving. But basically, the only thing that is permanent about being a human being is the spirit. The body withers and perishes and is discarded. The limited mind is a great tool, but it dies with the body. And the unlimited mind, i.e., the spirit, the consciousness, is something that endures, and it endures for, eternity. It's indestructible. It's energy. And any scientist will tell you that energy is indestructible. Yeah, so 3 main points there if you missed out on because of the break in the stream. The nature of emotions, they're invisible, so we can't see them or symbolize them. Behavior is the only direct sign, and behavior is governed. 95% of human behavior is governed by the nervous system. So we can't easily change it. We can't easily modify it. Our bodies come first. Neuroscience confirms very strongly that the body registers emotions long before the mind labels them, and labels them with very dubious, abstract labels. Don't forget, language is abstract. Millions, billions of interpretations from one person to another of any single word. And the third reason is, from my point of view as a Buddhist, then emotions, like all phenomena, are fleeting. It's only the spirit, or the true nature, as we call it, the Buddha nature, which endures and is indestructible. So then, we can go on and look at the consequences of scoring emotions, which I've done in various articles and so on this week. We can only get false comfort, really. People who lead teams may feel momentarily reassured by dashboards, dazzling and flashing, but actually they miss what's happening. We lose compassion. So over time, scoring empathy erodes genuine compassion, and the muscle atrophies. And people start performing. If they're being assessed, they start performing. Nothing worse than somebody performing empathy, in my view. And then the third point is the risk of control regimes. So treating behavior as measurable, emotion controlled, recalls authoritarian tendencies, which is really dangerous for culture and for humanity in general. So the alternative is embodied leadership, presence as opposed to performance, compassionate detachment, embodied rituals, silence, whole body listening, breath work, posture awareness, and so on, and the unlimited mind versus the limited mind. The limited mind is compulsive symbol making, dashboards, categories, etc. And the unlimited mind is consciousness, boundless, and accessed through embodiment. Okay. Oh, it looks like our LinkedIn stream has been removed again. I'll try and reconnect quickly. I don't know why this is happening. Something to do with the weather, maybe. There we are. We're back. Don't worry, I'll be posting highlights from this later on. Okay, so from a strategic angle for business, then there are cultural risks with EQ, financial risks. It's expensive to implement programs which produce surface behavior, not transformation. And indeed, a very profitable alternative is to hire embodiment specialists and balanced individuals who can collaborate and use their resilience in workplaces. So, future-proofing, balanced, embodied individuals need fewer managers. They become leaders themselves, fit for the AI digital age. We have to be self-reliant. That's another of my abiding themes. If we're self-reliant, we don't need leaders. We are leaders. We are all potentially leaders. But many of us depend and become passive. So this is the time for us to become self-dependent, truly self-dependent. That's what a lot of my training approaches and addresses. Okay, that's last week. Now, what's going to happen this week? Well, this week's theme is wealth versus guilt or sacrifice. This is a theme I'm going to be addressing in my event on Wednesday, the masterclass event. And I've got a new guest joining me who is a healer and works with people who have money problems and problems with their relationships with money. So many people equate financial success with a kind of moral compromise or some kind of endless self-denial. This is an incredibly ridiculous trade-off. True wealth equals alignment. It's when the body, the spirit, and the mind are balanced. Abundance flows naturally, and it doesn't drain health or impede relationships or in any way affect joy. So that's going to be my topic this coming week. There are many aspects to this, but there are some cultural myths which are really interesting, I think. First of all, the sacrifice myth. Yeah, we're told in the developed world, work harder, work longer, sacrifice family and health to deserve wealth. Yeah, the reality here is overwork erodes the nervous system. It undermines creativity and collaboration and causes burnout, which is a really serious damage to the nervous system, which could take 2 years to recover from. So the sacrifice myth, I'm going to be focusing on that this week. Secondly, the guilt myth. We hear people say, if I have more, others must have less. That is bunkum in my world. The reality is, wealth is generative when it's rooted in collaboration and embodied clarity. If you're working from the limited mind, you're not going to have any clarity about money. We need to open up the mind, open up the heart in order to really understand our relationship with money. And the third point is the scarcity myth. The scarcity myth. Okay, we've lost LinkedIn again, I think. Never mind, I'll give up with that, I think. The scarcity myth are phrases like resources are limited, success is zero sum. The reality? True wealth expands capacity internally with health and energy and creativity, and externally with innovation and partnerships, etc. So this week I'm going to be exposing 3 myths: the sacrifice myth, the guilt myth, and the scarcity myth. Okay, so look forward to that. Instead of this guilt about wealth, then we can see it very differently. Wealth is energetic. It's about energy. It's stored in the breath, in posture, in heart intelligence, and in the nervous system regulation, not just in bank accounts. That is so myopic. I can't believe people actually have come to believe that. It's quite ridiculous. And so, if we can see wealth as energetic, as energy, yes, if we look at banknotes, if we look at precious stones and so on, they don't have an intrinsic value. They are symbolic. They're symbols. But what is behind them is energy. So people who make a lot of money and have great reserves are in very full energy. Secondly, embodied presence attracts. So balanced leaders magnetize opportunities without chasing them. People come to them. At the moment, there's a huge race going on. People are burning out because they're chasing after wealth and success. And they're really detaching from their bodies and their nervous systems and their human spirit. And they're ending up failing and also burning out, perhaps. And compassion is a brilliant leverage. If we give without depletion, we can create sustainable cycles of abundance. If you keep giving out, then your cycles of abundance will really expand enormously. I'm living proof of that. People are really streaming to know what I'm doing and come and work with me because I'm not chasing. I'm staying in my spine, in my breath, in my whole body awareness. And this is attractive to people. So I am attracting lots of people. So, yes, I'm going to be going into this in depth this week. I'll be looking at it too in my 3-day meditation midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, mindful moments. We're going to be looking at the theme then. We're going to look at sacrifice as a myth on Friday in Lodestone Q&A. And also in Lodestone Lunch on Monday for coaches and educators. I'm going to be broaching that topic too. So by the end of the week, you'll have had a whole huge input about wealth is guilt. So just 1 or 2 practical shifts you can take on right now. Number 1, don't outsource value to external symbols, money, status. Anchor inside value. Your values live inside you, not outside. Secondly, treat prosperity practices like embodiment rituals for like daily tuning of the nervous system, the breath, the posture, attention, and so on. Take them very seriously. Gratitude is a very important ritual in my daily work. It's the basis of my life, really, gratitude. And thirdly, replace guilt with gratitude. Yeah, there we are. Replace sacrifice with sovereignty. In other words, choosing how and where we invest our energy. Thank you so much for joining me. And I apologize to LinkedIn members. We had a few breaks there in streaming. Don't worry, I'm going to post some highlights from the recording, and I'll write a post about this very soon. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Do join me again tomorrow. I'll be continuing on, but hopefully without any streaming problems. I'm Lyndon Thorpe, and this is Our Way, Our Wealth, and we're starting a new week with a very important topic, the guilt around wealth. Please join me.